Sister Circle, Sister Circle.
Entertainment.
It's time for the Sister Circle, Sister Circle, Sister Circle. It's time for the Sister Circle, Sister Circle, Sister Circle.
Well, welcome to the Sisterhood Circle.
Hey.
Woo! The sisters,
Yes.
and this is our circle.
This is our circle.
We're so glad that you joined us. I am Dee Marie.
I'm Kira Cherie.
Dr. Dawn.
Sally.
And Jen. Come and sit where the conversation is different.
Well, hey, ladies.
Hey.
So y'all know what time it is.
Sister Chat.
Hey, yes. Yes. So, one thing I was thinking about this week is that, just the climate in our, in our country, just at all, it's just so negative, And that's one thing that I love about the Sisterhood Circle is that we bring that positivity.
Yes.
You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? And can bring that light because all they get on the news is just negative, this stuff, fear monger, just negative. And I think that we can bring, some positive things to the world.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody says, have a good day, and I feel like I own my own day. Like
Okay.
nobody gets to tell me what kind of day I'm having.
Yeah.
So I just choose to always have a good day. Like I start every day in my mind thinking it's a good day. Bad things might happen
Right.
in my day, but I'm still gonna have a good day.
Yeah.
That's a great mindset.
That is a great mindset. I also, when I get off track, I'm like, bring it back in. I'm not going to let the day, nobody mess up my day. Because I almost had one of those days today. It was like, okay, Jesus, what we doing? What are we doing? So,
Especially like when you're at work every day.
Yeah.
You just expect things are going to happen, but if you start your day off with positivity, then you orchestrate your day how you want it to be.
Yeah.
Well, and I appreciate what you said because sometimes you do need a reset, right? Like, okay, this happened. It just seems like everything's coming all at once, and you're like, okay, reset
Reset.
because this can't control my entire day or my outcome.
Yeah.
and with that, too, starting the day, like with I have my niece, and, they say don't start off yelling during the day because that kind of sets the tone for their day. So if something does transpire in the morning, which a lot of times it does, just being transparent,
We know.
I always try to bring her back in. And let's not let this start your day. I always tell her when you leave, have a good day. I love you. You got to say your affirmations so you will have a great day. Make it a great day.
Make it a great day.
Yeah. Now, I love mornings. And I know some people aren't morning people.
I'm not.
And I don't understand that sometimes. I know everybody's different.
I mean, I'm glad to wake up.
Yeah.
But I want to wake up on my time.
Yeah. But it's like, it's such a great
Not with
day.
the birds.
It's a new day. Yes, I love the birds.
That's where the saying comes from. That's for the birds.
Exactly. And we like to wake up in the morning.
I don't mind getting up, but I do want to get up at my own pace.
Yeah.
Like
Like when you're forced to get up like at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So I
She wants to. She
be a
wants
5
to
a.m.er.
do. Oh no!
Wow. Yeah, that's my desire.
There's a whole community of
Has it
y'all.
happened yet? Not quite. It hasn't happened quite yet.
Yeah.
But that is my desire.
I want every piece of sleep I can get before it's time for me to get up.
People wake up at 5 a.m. They just get things done.
That's what it appears.
But then doesn't it relate to what time did you go to bed last night?
Yes.
very
It
true.
is.
So
Very
it,
true.
it does matter.
Yeah.
So really, it's all about what you do the night before.
What did you do the
to
night
wake up
before?
to have a great day, and then we can be the light for the whole world.
I agree. I definitely agree with Dee Dee. I'm not sure about the 5 a.m., maybe 6-ish, but I love
You
it.
want to get up early. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it does help you be more productive throughout the day.
Yeah.
But I'm a night owl, so
Yeah.
9 o'clock is ideal for me. I think the 9 o'clock is a great start
To
of
wake
the day.
up?
Not to wake up necessarily.
just
I'm
to
kind of
start your day.
awake,
Yeah.
but not up
But
and
just
moving
like, I'm
around.
ready now. It's
Yes.
9 o'clock. Let's get it going.
Yes,
Yeah.
not up and moving around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm excited about our topic today.
Okay.
We have a special guest that's coming. Super excited. This is our first guest.
First guest. All right.
Really excited.
That's history.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Because as women, really anybody, a lot of times we can go into survival mode.
Yes.
And when we do that, I don't think sometimes we even realize that we're in survival
Nope.
mode. It just
We
kind of
don't.
just happens because
Yes.
of life. Well, so we have Michelle Watson, who is our soror, coming to the panel, and we're just going to discuss about survival mode.
She's coming to the circle.
To the circle. I said
Welcome
panel.
to
Yes,
our
to the
circle.
circle.
Yes.
Yes. So she is a therapist. So we're going to pull on her expertise, and and we're going to have a great topic. So we will be right back after the break, and we'll come back and we'll have our guest, Michelle Watson, here on the Sisterhood Circle.
All right. Yay.
I am so glad you ladies are here. You each have your own rooms.
Thank you.
Is it okay to call you Mom?
Of course you can.
Welcome back to the Sisterhood Circle. We have a great segment here for you. So we have a special guest here at our circle, which is Michelle Watson, who is an LCSW. Did I get that right?
You did get it right.
All right. So Michelle, kind of introduce yourself and tell us, what you do and who you are.
Okay. Well, I'm Michelle Watson. As she said, I am a licensed clinical social worker. That's what LCSW stands for. I work primarily, I have a private practice in which I work with women, primarily dealing with stress, anxiety, depression, all of those things that we deal with, but particularly Black women, because I feel like we have needs that everybody doesn't always get.
Yeah. And that's what we're talking about today is survival mode. We've all been there, I'm sure. And I can speak for myself as ended up being a single mom, and you just go immediately into, you don't even think about yourself or nothing. You just go immediately, okay, I got to take care of these kids. Which I'm sure you all have.
My example of survival mode for me, it was being a single mother, but I was a single mother because my husband was murdered. So when he was murdered, I didn't take care of myself at all. I didn't do any grief counseling. I didn't do any of that. I went straight into survival mode for them and stayed that way probably well until after they graduated, probably even college. I don't think until my mother passed did I really recognize how much of survival mode I was in.
So I was in survival mode when I was in my domestic violence relationship. And getting out of that, I felt like I went even deeper into survival mode. It was almost like a cloud. I felt like I was in a dark place and not just, it's like minute by minute, like what am I going to do? Where are we going to sleep? How am I going to pay for things? All of that, just, you really are just trying to survive, but just trying to survive the moment.
Right.
Is a lot of times how it felt.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think what you all described are actually very common symptoms of things that bring us into survival mode. Survival mode is chronic stress. Like that's really what it is, right?
Okay.
And most of us have heard of fight, flight, or freeze response, right? Most people are familiar with it. I always say to people, what would you do if a tiger walked in this room, right? Either you're going to fight it, you're going to run, or you're going to hide somewhere, right? Because it's the survival part of our brain. The survival part of our brain, our bodies are designed to keep us alive. Like if you try to hold your breath underwater, or that game we used to play as kids, who can hold their breath the longest, right? Our bodies are meant to make us stay alive, right? So because of that, it's like the thinking part of our brain shuts off, and that base part of our brain activates, and so it's just us trying to stay alive, like you said, just trying to figure out day to day, taking care of your kids, making sure everything is okay. And it's not a problem, right? It's designed to keep us safe. It's designed to keep us alive, if you will. It becomes the issue when it starts to impede our ability to do our day-to-day activities, right? So that's usually what happens, because sometimes that part of our brain has to shut off, because again, if I was faced with a bear or a tiger, I don't need to think is it going to hurt me? Is it going to kill me? What kind of bear is it? I don't need to know that. I need to know I need to go. So same thing when it comes to living life, right? Certain things I don't need to think about right now. I know I had the bills paid. I got to get the kids to school. We got to eat. I got to do all these things. And so that just naturally comes to us. So our ability just to keep going, that's what's happening in that moment.
So my therapist did tell me there's been different modes, but she said mine is primarily freezing. So that's like you shut down and you don't, you just take care of the bare minimum of things that need to get done,
absolutely.
and you shut down in all other areas. And I know I can admit that I've been there, especially after my mom passed. It was very difficult for me. So I went into, like, I had a whole month of December where I did absolutely nothing but sit on the couch and watch TV and scroll Instagram.
Wow.
And I recognized it. It was difficult for me to get up and go do things. You know, it was a chore. So if you had an event, you know, I would go because I didn't want to seem like that person, like, you know, but I really was not in the mode. It was like a job to prepare myself, to get myself ready to go and get up and go. So that she said that was, you're in freeze mode.
Wow.
And then how do we recognize, you know what I'm saying, if you're in it? Because once you're in it, I don't think you even
Recognize that you're in it.
Well, and I think, like what Dawn pointed out, like, you find ways to cope through it. So whether you're eating a lot maybe, or
Shopping,
drinking, or shopping, or
Yeah.
you know, you do things to kind of
make you feel better.
and make you feel better, maybe. But
So what has your experience been as far as what you recognize? What's the first thing you recognize or you help people recognize?
I think what you all said, noticing changes in yourself, right? Like, I'm forcing myself to get up and go to this event. I'm making myself, you know, go to work and do all these things that I have to do, and I don't feel like it. It's kind of like this perpetual state of like being in burnout. Like, you know, I just don't want to do anything, but I know I have to.
Yeah.
So that's really kind of the first sign you'll notice you're not yourself.
Yeah.
People around you might say you seem a little different, but again, for some people, we're good at, you know, we can put on that face. You know, especially as Black women, we're good about that, putting on that face. And that's usually the first sign, is that something's changed in you. I experienced it myself. I've experienced it from burnout. And I was just like, I'm just here. And I was very aware that it was happening in that moment, because I just wasn't myself. The person that's usually on top of everything and always organized. People were like, you forgot. I did. And I had finally gotten to a point where, like, and I'm okay with forgetting right now, because I just needed to get through each day.
Like when my father passed, I feel like I just quit in so many ways, and I don't think I recognized it at first. It was just hard, and I didn't want to go through steps of grief, or I didn't want to hear about all that. I remember my church actually sending me books to read, and I was just like, for what, you know, and just trying to get through that. And I would smile, I would show up, at least I think I did for the most part. But looking back on it, I realized how much I missed the kids and just that relationship part, because you're just going through the motions, trying to get the day done.
And not really enjoying it.
And not enjoying it.
And that's the other side, not enjoying it. Absolutely.
I noticed that a lot of our survival stories all have this trauma at the center. You know, that it was trauma induced survival. So I wonder, what would you advise, you know, when someone does have a trauma in their life? What do they do in that moment so that they are not necessarily going into survival mode for long periods of time?
Yeah, I think the first thing, again, is recognizing yourself. You know, recognizing that something is different, or like somebody's in your circle, you have to point it out, right? Say, hey, sis, something, I notice you're different. Something's changed. So I think that's the first step, is even just recognizing that it's there. And then again, depending on, especially when we start talking about trauma, like that's deep. That's some heavy stuff. And a lot of times we don't want to admit or see it that way. I don't even want to say admit. Sometimes we don't even view things because that's just my normal life. This is just
that's survival mode.
That's survival mode, right? I'm just out here living life and not realizing that what I'm feeling and going through and experiencing in this moment, it's not myself. It's not my best life, if you will. So I think that's the first step. And then also reaching out for help. You know, I think a lot of times, especially as African Americans, I hate to say it, you know, but we want to not tell, you know, you don't tell everybody your business. That's how I grew up, right? And so I think at some point we have to learn to go ask for help and talk to somebody. And I tell people all the time, when it comes to therapy, it is not one size fits all. I promise you, it is not. You have to find someone who is a good fit for you. So some people have had those experiences where they reached out to a therapist, like, that wasn't helpful. I'm not doing that again.
I went through like 3. And one particular, this was after my mom passed, is what prompted. So this has been, my husband's been gone 18 years. And so 18 years of not acknowledging all of that, just being in survival mode. And then when my mom passed, it became too much. I noticed a change in me, and I was like, I don't like it. So I was going through different therapist, and one particular therapist, I made it on. I was like, okay, great. I found one, made the appointment online, went to see her, and she didn't show up. And she said it wasn't. And I just cried. And that took me to a whole nother place. So I was like, just forget it. I'm not going to do it. But then God was prompting me like, and I wasn't feeling any better. So I was like, I got to find one. And I went through the couple, then pandemic hit, and the one I got before that, she didn't reach out during the pandemic or any of that. So I was like, okay. And I found another one. She became too friendly, so I had to get rid of her.
But at least you recognize that.
People like that.
And the one I have now, I love her. She actually released me and said, you have my number. I'm not a fan of having people just pay for it. She said, if you feel the need, call me back. So what y'all think? I'm having sessions right now because I felt the need. I was getting back to that place again, and I was like, okay, let me call her.
And then I was going to say, and then sometimes I remember earlier on, I had a therapist that I was dealing with a different situation. So that person might be good for that season, and then you might have that, and then you're facing something else or need something more. Then that's another time. So I think that, and again, with our sister circle, just recognizing that, and again, it goes back to having that person in your circle that's going to point some things out that you feel comfortable. So once that happens, hopefully that person, that circle, your friend in that circle can suggest, sis, you need to see a therapist. This is beyond me. I can't help you further.
And we have to feel okay doing that.
Right.
You know, even because the person might get mad at us. Just say, okay, I know they're gonna get mad. Just roll your sleeves up. Say, I don't care. You know, I need you to go.
There's been a lot of conversation about self-care, and I think it's a wonderful conversation. But I think self-care is also having community to care for you as well. Because sometimes we can't see it in ourselves, and we need somebody else who loves and supports us to point out those things that maybe we don't recognize or we're kind of in denial about. So
denial. It's not just a reality.
It's real.
One thing too, I think about too. So like, once you're, I want to say out of survival mode, or once you're at a place where you can breathe, that's when I recognized that I was. But you know what I'm saying? But that time has passed now.
Because you got through it, you survived.
Right. That's true.
You survived. Like that's the key of it. Like we need sometimes when we're going through those moments and they're so overwhelming, stopping and thinking about it may make you break down, may make you not want to keep going, right? So we just keep pushing. We keep pushing, you know, especially like you put on that superhero cape. I tell people all the time, my cape is at the cleaners.
I like that. I think I'm going to use it.
I say it all the time. But that's it. We just keep going. And like you said, when I'm out of it, I'm like, wait a minute. I got through that. I went through that. So that's normal.
On the other side.
So then I look back and then I'm like, then I go and regret sometimes because it's like, dang, I didn't do this. I messed up with this. You know, the kids missed out on this because and I really want to talk to young girls or just young mothers. Like, I know you got to get through it, but recognize and take the time to spend more time with your children. You know what I'm saying? Just slow down a little bit. You know, it's like, but they don't, I understand it because
they're trying to make it work.
They're trying to get through.
Well, I mean, I just remember my mother telling me, like, you're going to blink, it's going to be over.
Right.
My mother-in-law said the same thing. And I'm like, oh, yeah. But then it is. All of a sudden, you're like, okay, I don't even remember what happened here through here. Or they're talking about a memory, and you're like,
what? Yeah.
Oh, I'm not the only one. Thank God.
I do that all the time.
They're like, Mom, you remember? I'm like, no.
Yeah. Give me a picture.
Because you're just gliding.
You just kind of glide.
Yep. You get into that go mode, and that's it. You know. And I do a lot of apologizing to them. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I hope I didn't, damaging. And it was like, is there anything, is there anything I did, during that time? So.
I encourage them to get counseling.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's important. I think it's important to start early. So.
It is very.
So for somebody that's in survival mode, they recognize that they're in it. And they want to come out of that. Are there any practical tips for the people that are listening?
Yeah, I mean, aside again, of course, for seeking out help, professional help, one thing is just trying to be mindful, because you all talked about not having those memories of things that are going on. So being in this moment, like right now, and that can be really hard because and a lot of times we think about stress and anxiety. We're thinking about stuff that's going to happen. We're thinking about the future. Our brain is on everything that needs to get done, right? And when I talk about depression, a lot of times we're thinking about stuff that happened in the past.
That's so good.
And all those things that we keep kind of marinating on in our brain. And there's a place in the middle right now. This moment is the present, right?
Yes.
So practicing those, having those mindful practices might be a help for some people. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do out there. YouTube is a plethora of stuff for like progressive muscle scans, body scans, grounding. There's various techniques that people can try that can kind of help them be in this moment, because you miss out on things if your brain is in the future and in the past.
That is so good.
That's good.
It's so good. The
That's
future is a
good.
good
Place. I know.
Yeah.
Was that free of charge for us?
And everyone who was listening.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you for that.
No, that's really, really good, because you're right. I mean, when you think back about like some things in the past, then you're like, dang, I shouldn't have done that, or I should have done this differently, or and then it's like you can't do anything about that.
No.
Yeah,
Can't go back.
it's
And give
gone.
yourself grace, right? We're all human. Give yourself grace.
I tell my niece that all the time.
Yeah. But we're gonna stop it right here. We're gonna go on break and we're gonna come back.
wow.
And I want to talk more about the aspect of survival mode and I'm going back to children and kind of what we do to them. So,
okay.
all right.
Okay.
So we'll be right back after the break with more of the Sisterhood Circle.
All right.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Well, welcome back to the Sisterhood Circle. And as we were talking before we went on break, I kind of want to touch a little bit on, I guess this can go into sister wellness. On how our survival mode like reflects on our children. And I say that too because sometimes, and you don't mean to, but you can get angry at them for no reason, or just, constantly yelling and stuff. And you don't try to, but it's just that at the time, I don't have time to deal with this right now. I just need you to do what and they like, dang, so like, how can we, not, because I just think we can't just yell at them all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So like, I guess we just have to catch ourselves in that moment.
We're human.
True.
So let's start there.
Yeah, let's start there.
And in our humanity, that anger is an emotion and is very real. The one thing that I think is important is practicing apologizing when you need to, making repairs when you need to, right? The repairs.
Yeah.
So because if I said something or did something to offend you, but I think that is a good skill to model for kids to practice doing, right?
Yes. Oh, that's good.
Is it okay for us to yell at people? No. Do we do it? Yes. That's the reality of life, right?
Yeah.
So even modeling that skill of being able to say, you know what, mommy was really upset right now. I should not have taken my frustration out on you.
Yeah.
I think those are life lessons for them to learn how to communicate. Because a lot of times we don't learn how to deal with our emotions. Even in that moment, again, we're angry, we're frustrated, our brain is on go, but we can always come back and try to make amends and try to do that repair part of it.
That's good. And I think too, unfortunately, as Black women, we are told we're strong. And I grew up in a house, as a child, you do as a child does, no matter how I am to you, you do as
I say, not as I do.
Yeah, you're doing as you're told, and you're seen and not heard.
Yep.
And I know that, yes, you're supposed to discipline your kids, but I think sometimes we don't allow them to have that voice.
Yeah.
Because there's times I didn't allow my kids to, but they do have a voice, and I believe they should be able, because we hurt their feelings, and I believe that they should, be allowed that. But I know, in Black households, it's all about discipline and not enough love. I don't think. Yeah.
I think you have to have both.
Yeah.
You have
a balance.
voice with boundaries, but still allow that child of yours to really sit you down and talk to you, because we're human, as you said. So absolutely.
I think that comes from so many different places. I think about, again, my area is dealing with Black women, and we think about, I don't think sometimes we put into it intergenerational trauma, right? So a lot of those things that we learned or were passed on to us to do as I say, not as I do, those types of things, right? And it's deep and it's, it's just a lot to unpack. And I think that kind of goes into how we parent. We parent from a sense of, I don't want the world to hurt you. Right? So I'm going to keep you safe. Don't do that because I said so. Yeah. I don't have time to explain to you that because when a cop pulls you over or when you have this other's experience, I don't want you dead. Yeah. Right? And so that's why we teach our kids that. But that is coming from a place of all these years of trauma that we have endured and continue to endure. Continue to endure. It still happens. Yeah. It still happens, sadly. Yes. And so a lot of times that is why we are operating in that capacity. So
Well, this has been so fantastic.
So rich.
So thank you so much for being coming to the circle. This has been so good.
We'll have to have her back.
Yes,
I have many more questions.
This is our extension therapist. So she will be back. Yes. Continuously.
Happy to come back.
So thank you all for always tuning into the Sisterhood Circle. Another episode, and we're so excited. Just continue to watch us. Follow us on all our social media platforms.
Yes. And we will see you next time.
See you next time on the Circle.
Yeah.
Girl, go with your best self. Come to the circle where conversations is really hell. Yeah, you don't gotta hide, but you keep it side. Come complete the circle, girl, get rid of your pride. It's the time to be alive. You are not alone. We gon' help you strive. We all in the zone. We got God on our side. Come catch a vibe. When you listen to, you already know what's the time.
It's time.